Education is the foundation within which a society's future is built upon. You can guarantee growth and development, sustainable growth and development, and that is where, the Nigerian university system itself fits in. However, there are some existential issues that continue to inundate the university system in Nigeria, away from the Asuu strikes as well as the issues that they've highlighted over the years with regards to welfare, with regards to infrastructure, with regards to repositioning the university system for better service delivery. It has also, again, pointed out that it is going to embark on yet another industrial action if the federal government fails to honor its agreement to implement the 2009 agreement. Remember, we're in 2024, but we're still talking about the 2009 agreement. The union also rejected what it calls the ongoing illegalities as well as flagrant violation of the autonomy of public universities as a result of the non-reinstatement as well as reconstitution of their governing councils. It gave the government a 2-week ultimatum to address the issues and others to prevent the looming industrial action. Now, to help us navigate some of these issues this morning, we're joined by Dr. Adamu Babayo. He's the National Auditor of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Comrade Dr. Adamu, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Before we get into the Asuu issues, its ultimatum, and the situation around the governing councils, I just want to get your quick reaction to the government's offer of 48,000 naira minimum wage. I mean, Asuu has had its own battle. We're going to get into the details of the 2009 agreement about your earned academic allowance, remuneration, and all of that. Right. Well, what do you make of this offer by the federal government?
Well, for me, coming from the labor sector, I think that Nigerians are worth much more than 48,000 naira. Well, what is it? You don't just come and throw in a figure at the people and say this is your worth. Where is the process of collective bargaining? Where is the ILO convention? You need to put this down and then assess and see the value of a worker. But by you just throwing down 48,000 naira minimum wage, how much percent is that? You are talking about 0.6% or 0.8% for the minimum worker in Nigeria. And vis-a-vis the hard economic trends in this country today, if you put this all together, I was just listening to the program, and if you put all this together, that means what is my worth as a worker in this country? Now, I go by say I take 48,000 naira. I have 3 children. I have a wife. I have other plans to go to work. Let's look at this on the barest minimum. Yeah. Can it take me home 48,000 naira as a certificate holder in this country? That I need to buy gas, I need to move. In fact, even if I use a bicycle to go to work, how much energy will I, use to transport myself to the work? Raise my bicycle or even on a bike. So honestly, the government of Nigeria need to be realistic. The Nigerian Labour Congress needs to come, put itself together, get the best bargain wage for a Nigerian worker. You see, at times there are things that you need to safeguard for the workers in this country. For instance, let us make the Medicare free. Remove it from my package. Get education, get security for me, and all these things will naturally lower, the tempo for the common worker. Yeah. But generally, you throw 48,000 naira to me and you think I'll be comfortable. I think it is an aberration.
And obviously, this is something that Asuu can relate to. Your battle with the federal government has come a long way. It's something that many Nigerians dread. Whenever Asuu and federal government are going at it, students are apprehensive, parents are apprehensive, the society itself is shaken because of that. And this 2009 agreement has dragged on for such a very long time. It's been 15 years now, almost 15 years since that agreement was signed. Give me a sense of where this new position of Asuu is coming from. For the most part, we thought there is a significant improvement with regards to implementation in the twilight days of the Buhari administration. Where are we right now with regards to the implementation before we talk about the issue of the Governing Council's reconstitution?
Well, thank you so much. You see, when you talk about the 2009 agreement, and you put it vis-a-vis the former Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, I think the whole package put together did not see the fruiting, because he then had promised that he was going to shoot it down. And he has promised that he was going to, he shut it down, rather. Because in 2009, we came in by 2020, discussed the several committees that was set by the last administration of the Muhammad Buhari administration, led by, first of all, the Wale Babalakin's committee, then to Professor Munzali, and lately to Daybreak's committee. All these were put together, and in the end, we had what we call the 2021 agreement. That was conclusive. But for government now to endorse and say, this is the agreement, the only portion that was left was the salary package. And behold, that was where we had a truce with government. And in the end, the whole thing was thrown at us that we either take it or leave it. And what did we do? We now said, look, government, in this salary component that is remaining as part, we have, first of all, remember that we have all agreed on all the items, funding
for the universities.
Conditions, right. Yes, funding for the universities, our conditions of service, the only thing that was left there was the salary component. And we told the federal government of Nigeria then, look, give us an African average to take care of Nigerian lecturers. What did they do? In their natural senses, they were saying they don't have money to take care of the African average. And we said, fine.
What is the African average, if I may add?
The African average is, we look at African countries that have the best package of salaries. And initially we said, give us the global standard. That you can go to US and you can invite a professor from the US to, be able to fit.
To be at par.
Exactly, to be at par with the Nigerian workers and salary in terms of context of salaries. Here we are, we said, okay, give us $5,000. But they said they don't have $5,000. Fine. We now say, okay, what is the African average? We came to an African average, said, okay, between $2,000 to $3,000.
The equivalent.
The equivalent, that's it, an African average. Behold, they said they don't have that money also. We now said, okay, let us look at the best university in Nigeria that has the best earning, and that is River State University. We now agreed that, look, give us the wage bill for the lecturers in River State University. And when we went to sign this agreement, Chris Ngige and his team were saying no, that they wouldn't sign this. There was no concrete, there is no concrete, positioning for payments. And clearly he said he was going to shoot it down, and he did.
Was the explanation always that government doesn't have the money to pay for it? Government cannot afford it? Was that the only issue the government had with your proposals?
See, you see, there are so unfortunately in this country to say that there are people that believe that education should just be treated as a normal worker's wage. They don't see that education is developmental. They look at the package you get, that it should not be more than the level of a person, an ex-person in the civil service. But we told them that, look, what is actually going on is that this should be a product of collective bargaining. What is my worth as a professor? Or what is my worth as a senior lecturer in the university sector? Now, considering that my worth is X amount in the university sector, how will I attract, say, a person from the African region to come into Nigeria and feel that he is not at par with what he is having in Nigeria? And the persons could come in, teach, visit, do adjunct lecturing, and do sabbaticals in Nigeria. Don't forget that universities are supposed to be global in nature. When you come in, you are supposed to feel the same thing that you are from a different region. But now they just refuse and then threw in, take it or leave it at us. And we said, well, we will not take it.
Has that been the same? Has there been a shift from, your relationship, which has clearly soured with Chris Ngige as former Minister of Labour, right, to the Tinubu administration right now? What has significantly changed? Because we see from the body language of Asuu that not much has changed, because you're still using ultimatums for the federal government to get what you want.
Right. Thank you so much. You see, before I even put it that we are now beginning to put ultimatums in place. We gave this government ample time. This is almost a year now. When the president made his speech, we were happy. In the first place, well, there will be no more strikes. We were happy as a union that yes, we are having maybe a likelihood of saying there will be something good coming from this government, and since President Tinubu is beginning to say that yes, you have no more strikes in your institutions. We felt that yes, something good will be coming. But behold, this is over almost 12 months of the tenure of this administration. And in our own phalanx, we met, discussed, we went to our members, discussed with them, and they said, well, give them time. Let's give them time to make good their promises. Now, we pushed, discussed, and in fact, let me say that we've met several persons in government to make good their promises, and to this extent, there is nothing credible coming out from this, apart from the wage award that they have just thrown at us, which we are saying is not, anything to write home about. Because this wage award, you could easily wake up tomorrow and withdraw it. We are saying, come, let's sit on the table, have a bargaining, a collective bargaining, that I know my worth, I know my price, and we go home with it.
So where are we with this channel of communication? The Minister of Education, Pastor Emmanuel, has talked about the commitment of the administration to address these issues, these labor-related issues that have been raised not just by Asuu. Sanu has also had his own position a couple of weeks ago regarding their own concerns. Where are we with the back and forth, with the negotiations, with the interaction between government and the labor union?
You see, when you talk about interactions with government and the labor unions, on our own part as Asuu, we felt that there are financial and non-financial issues. And when you look at the non-financial issues, these are issues that we say the issues of goodwill from the government. You show your goodwill, you say, okay, look, this renegotiation, this issue of governing council, for instance, issue of proliferation of universities are not funding. They are not part of funds that you say it will take you 11 months to recalibrate and know you're bearing within the settings of the Nigerian university system. So if we have talked and moved and mobilized, discussed with government agents, and behold, there is nothing that is forthcoming. See,
and is Asu's position that the government is not sincere about these engagements, these commitments to do what it says it is going to do? Is that your understanding? Is that your reading of the government's body language on this one?
Yeah, thank you. You see, to a large extent, it is about trust. And trust on any person, we agree, is a burden. Now, if I come to you, sit down, have a common position, discuss, and we agree and aggregate our position. And by the day, if we come forward, we say, this is what we have discussed. I expect that by tomorrow morning, it should be implementable. Now, I come back today, I come back tomorrow, I come back next tomorrow. I don't see this coming in, it being implemented. So there is a visual lack of trust amongst our members on the government. You see, we are national officers manning the affairs of this union as entrusted on us. What we gather is from the field. Our members normally feel angered by the actions of government because they also, have a view of the global scenarios, have a view of the Nigerian situation, and looking at the Nigerian university system, they also feel that yes, there is a need to show that there is no trust. Because where you trust me, where you say there is trust, where there is confidence building, it is about me getting what has been enshrined as the conditions that are supposed to meet basic discussions that have been put on the table, which both sides could say we have agreed, but you have discussed and it is not forthcoming. You don't see the light. You don't see it happening. Right. So that is the seeming cloud of
mistrust. And your president, Professor Osodeke, also talked about how you've received worrisome reports, not just on the part of the federal government in terms of implementation, but also the state governments. So you're dealing with two separate tiers of government here, because we also have state-owned universities with this regard. How widespread are these concerns that Asuu has? Are there states that are doing well in terms of, ticking the boxes of some of these agreements, and what is the scale of it?
Well, to a large extent, let me take, for instance, Kaduna State University. After our strike, our members put it across to the Kaduna State government that, look, pay us our salaries, improve our welfare, and improve the settings of our university. Where are we? It is promises on promises. And to a larger extent, this current administration, prior to their incoming as Kaduna State government, they had made promises that they were going to make good whatever the Erufai administration did not do. But where are we today? Our members are still not having their salaries paid. The conditions of service for that university is not still coming up. The members are angry. In fact, they are even demanding for an action in that university. And now take Plateau State University, for instance. They just came out from another strike. Go to Ebonyi State University. Taraba State. All of them are demanding for one or two actions. And I cannot say there are no good state universities. There are state universities that their visitors are doing well. And in fact, for instance, look at River State University. But come back, look at Kogi State University. The former governor sacked about 140 members of ours. So, honestly, some of the visitors in these states see the Nigerian university system, particularly in their state, as a political drive goal. Now, when you see a university as a political goal that you say, or you look at it as our own project to say, okay, this is my attainment as a visitor to the university, I think that's why you are now seeing that there are frontiers, we have crises in the states, and the governors are not happy. Look at Kano State University. The same thing. The Kano State University of Science and Technology with the same problem. You remove their governing council. In fact, the SGF is a seasoned administrator. He was the last third phone ES. We expect that, yes, he should even guide His Excellency, the governor. But where are we? Sule Lamido University, Kafin Hausa, the same problem. So, what were we saying? Please, don't open too much frontiers for university and you look at them as a political goal. No. The university setting, the university system is beyond just a mere political goal. It's a developmental platform. It's a development system that is meant for growth of Nigerians.
So to put it aptly, you're saying the government, especially at the state level, are biting more than they can chew. Especially if you look at the financial cost of running a university and doing the needful after establishment.
That's it, definitely, because when you talk about even the grant system, you need to fight, you need to calibrate, you need to put pressure on the government before they start to think of even improving their grants. For instance, let me compare say, Gombe State University and Bauchi State University. Put this together. Now, the Gombe State University has improved its grant, but rather in the Bauchi State University law, they now went to even remove the 2% that should be coming from the local government. So you remove the 2% for the grant that will move the university forward. Where are we? Gombe State is increasing and Bauchi State is removing. These are kind of aberrations, that shouldn't be.
And let's talk about the governing council situation now, because it's mind-boggling. 11 months in since they were last dissolved, and there's nothing to show for it. And your union is very adamant that it is not only irregular, it is unacceptable and flagrant violation of the autonomy of public universities. Why are we here? I mean, this is not one of those financial conundrums where we're talking about numbers and things like that. This is something constitutional, that without the governing council, there's so many things that cannot be done in those universities because you need the governing councils for certain approvals. What is going on here with regards to the governing councils?
Well, thank you so much. If you remember, when the Buhari administration came in, when they came to be, they had demolished also. I mean, they announced that they've removed all the governing councils of federal universities. Our union took it upon us as our responsibility. We wrote to the government that this was wrong, and they listened. And they reinstated those governing councils that they announced their dissolution. But when this government came, they announced the dissolution of these governing councils. We wrote to them, paid visits, in fact, we told the NUC, we told the Minister of Education that this is illegal. You don't demolish or you don't dissolve a governing council that its tenure is not concluded. You could only dissolve in the first place if you found them wanting. If you find them wanting, the visitor has the right to remove the governing council. But here we are, a government, sitting government, dissolving a governing council, and we are saying you should reinstate those ones that you had dissolved, because as far as we are concerned, it's illegal, and that yes, you are now causing an implosion into the universities, because look at University of Abuja, look at Abakati Fabula University Bauchi, look at University of Maiduguri today. In fact, to the larger extent, let me just say that stakeholders are even beginning to petition what is actually going on, because these universities I've mentioned have written an advert, which was also illegal and fraudulent, because you do not need to go and make an advert. It's not your responsibility.
An advertorial for
the slot of the vice chancellor.
Right. Yeah.
It is the responsibility of the governing council to run and manage the finances of the university. Now, at the exit or at the dissolution of these governing councils, it is left now for the university senate, the vice chancellor, and the other DVCs to manage the affairs of the university, pending reinstatement of the governing councils. Now, you don't have a governing council in place. We've told you on the government side that, look, form these governing councils and look at the implications now, trickling down to stakeholders, both within and without the university community. Now, what does it take to say, okay, let's form these governing councils, or let's reinstate those ones, that were actually dissolved illegally? If, say, we want to reinstate those ones, how many minutes does it take? It's not an advocacy that, look, goodwill, Minister of Education, right, NUC, that we should reinstate these governing councils.
Yeah, just to provide clarity to some of our viewers who are missing the legal perspective to this, according to the provisions of Section 2A, which brought into the Principal Act by Section 2, subsection 3 of the Amendment Act, it's a very significant provision that provides that the council so constituted shall have a tenure of 4 years from the date of its inauguration, provided that there were a council is found to be incompetent and corrupt, it shall be dissolved by the visitor and a new council shall be immediately, which is I think is a key word, immediately constituted for the effective functioning of the university. So what has there been an explanation? What is the reason behind why we still don't have governing councils 11 months after the last ones were dissolved?
Honestly, we have knocked at doors. We have knocked at doors and we have complained, we've written letters like I have said. It's unfortunately that the bureaucracy tendencies, political interest, is what is keeping this government from reinstating the governing councils. I don't see, look, these councils are in place. For instance, if there are those that have died, you could replace them. Since we are talking about reinstating, we are not asking of forming a new governing council because the law is there. They have not concluded their 4 years. So bring them back, and those that are late, replace them immediately, and the functions of the system continues.
So there are no corruption allegations, no irregularities, no level of incompetence leveled against the previous ones that were dissolved, and there's nothing tangible to say why we still don't have the university, governing councils.
Absolutely, there are no critical, evaluation from the government side. There are no critical evaluations.
Would you say it's just a political move?
Certainly. To us, we see it as a political move because if you are dissolving these councils, you must establish a prima facie case against them that, look, we have found you wanting, please move away. Nobody will say we are against this move because you have found them wanting. But you just dissolve them. We raised an issue, we petitioned, or we draw your attention that, look, this is not proper. Yet, 11 months going, you are not announcing.
What can you tell us about the impact of this action, especially given that constitutionally we know, even as it says, immediately constituted for the effective functioning of the university, and we know how crucial it is to have the university governing councils. What impact has the absence of this governing council had on running the affairs of the universities 11 months on?
Well, thank you so much. It's multifaceted, if I would say this, because not only the finances of the universities is on the governing council, but rather even the staff promotion processes, the administrative processes, when you want to run contracts and other issues within the university setting, it has to be run by the governing council of these universities. Now, come and see what is going on in these universities. The vice chancellors are so, in fact, just look at the employment process in these universities we have also been crying about it. Now, the vice chancellors of these universities are having a field day, employing day by day in cohort with IPPIS. Employment is still ongoing in Nigerian universities.
Which is irregular, isn't it?
Yeah, because employment is a process of the governing council. Contracts, you don't do that until the council is there. Now, these are issues that have, so bedeviled the Nigerian university system. The vice chancellor has gone to give an advert on behalf of the governing council. Who mandated? In fact, it was the council that brought him in. Now he is releasing an advert on behalf of the Nigerian university, or on behalf of a federal university, for instance. Like I told you, there is a University X that even the governor of the state has petitioned that, look, I am not in consonance with this advert you brought, because they just looked at the face of one person and then designed an advert that looked at that person and clearly showing a path that they are clearing for the person to be. And the governor wrote a petition that I don't trust this advert because you are looking at XB and say, let's have a free and fair way that we can have a vice chancellor that can run the affairs of the university, because he also felt that he was a critical stakeholder, or he is a critical stakeholder in the university.
Yeah. So quickly before we go, you give the government a 2 weeks ultimatum. Have they reached out? What is the plan here? Clearly, an industrial action is not going to go well for the system, though.
Thank you. You see, for us as a union, as leaders, when our members push for an action, we also get worried. It's alarming on our own portion that our members are agitated and they want to draw an action. We were at Kaduna State University, we had our neck. We were at Niger Delta University, we had our neck. And all this was like our members were insisting that we have to take an action because they are not seeing anything tangible coming out from this government. And we said, no, members, hold on, calm down. There are efforts coming from this government. But at our last neck, at Ile-Ife, behold, our members came that they are not seeing anything tangible. And if the government is serious, let's see in the next 2 weeks if at all anything will come out of it. And that we will come back to revalidate our positions on this. And we'll tell Nigerians where we are in the next 2 weeks.
Right. Okay. Let's hope something tangible happens, because shutting down the universities yet again would definitely be something that most students, parents, and other stakeholders would not be comfortable with. Dr. Adamu, National Auditor of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak this morning. Really appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you for the analysis.
Thank you so much.
Okay.